The following program is brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole.
It's Zach Eady with Purdue men's basketball, and you're watching Boilers in the Stands.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boilers in the Stands post-game show. The Purdue Boilermakers are going to the Final Four. It has been an unbelievable night here in Detroit at the Little Caesars Arena. A very emotional day for a lot of Purdue fans, including everybody here in the chat. Robbie Hummel talking to Matt Painter and crying while he's interviewing him was one of the more powerful things I've ever seen. So I'm going to clear the floor to Kraig Bowers, who's been a part of this program for a long time, and let him get the opening words.
Greg's struggling a little bit there. I understand it, man. I was sitting up on press row up top and had to just kind of slide away for a little bit because with about 30 seconds left, those started welling up in me too, and I didn't want to let loose right there. On media row, sitting right by everybody else, and it just means a lot to everybody who's been a fan, to everybody, the past players, the past coaches, all the past assistants who've been along the way. I put it out on Twitter already, but you think back to the three amigos, you think back to Big Dog and Conzo Martin, you think to Carl Landry, you think to the baby Boilers, you think to Carson and Orion Klein and Dakota and PJ and Vince and Isaac, you think to Cliz, you think to Biggie Swanigan, all those guys that came through and helped pave the way for what Coach Painter and what these players were able to do today. Ultimately, this is for the current players and the current coaches, but what they provided for every former player, every former coach all along the way you saw how emotional it was and how much it meant to those types of people. And Robbie Hummel's reaction, who was just a bucket of tears in that interview all the way along. So it's just a special, special day. Greg and Joe, you've been fans for a little bit shorter time. It's special for you, but for those of us who've been around, I was born at least 3 years old the last time that Purdue went to the Final Four, but my earliest memories are the Three Amigos team, and to go through all of that, we've got listeners here who have been fans longer than that. It's just so extremely special, and can't wait to get to Phoenix and just soak that all in. There's 2 more games to go. But for me, that's all cherry on top at that point. I want to see Purdue win the national championship, but just making it to the Final Four etches their name in history, and that's something that can never, ever be taken away.
Yeah, it's hard for me, Joe, and I'll let you go. It's just like my mom came out today. She's over 70 years old. She drove 4 hours to come out here, watch the game with me. That's what sports is. That's what makes sports special, And seeing Robbie, seeing Gene Katie, seeing everybody, I'll just let Joe go because this is it's an exciting time. I'll just let Joe go because I have a lot to say. You guys know how much Sasha means to me and now he's a coach on the team, and I'm just so happy for them, honestly.
Yeah. So, and we'll maybe do another show sometime tomorrow, next day, and be able to give out a little more game analysis and stuff like that. But man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, and for I think a lot of people that tuned in know, like, I've been a fan. My first year being a fan of Purdue was my freshman year, and that was the Virginia loss. And so, even though I've been a fan for only a few years at this point, like, I have a bunch of losses, a bunch of heartbreak in there. Being able to just see this team, specifically this team too, after last year, you see Edey, and we all know the 400 plus rank to where he's at now, 2-time National Player of the Year, and I'm not afraid to say, like, the greatest Purdue men's basketball player of all time. This was the one thing that kind of, I think, I could listen to the arguments, like, he hadn't made a Final Four. He's the greatest Purdue men's basketball player of all time, and to see Braden, who is one of the best point guards in the country, and then, like, just the way that they win, they can grind you out, they can knock down threes. Today it was go to Edey, who put up 40 points, like
career high 40,
career high in the Elite Eight, in the biggest game of his career. Like, it's just unreal. I'm so happy for everybody on the team, obviously, and all that. You gotta love it for Painter, and just seeing the emotion that kind of he's had too. For all of us.
Go ahead. Go.
What you guys talking about?
Stop.
Does he want to say something?
Hey, we're gonna let Casey give his instant thought about what this means to Purdue real quick.
Casey from Boiler Upload, that anybody that doesn't know, does great work. I'm sure you guys probably also follow him. How's it going?
Good. Anything happened tonight?
There's a basketball game. Do you have any thoughts on said basketball game and surrounding circumstances? Braggs can't really talk right now.
Yeah, I'm a basket of emotion right now. It's and I've just been covering the team for 6-7 years. So knowing you guys as invested as you guys have been as long, obviously, like, it's just so cool to see. I'm just so happy for everybody. I went through this as a Cub fan, so to watch Purdue fans have this moment, it's awesome. It's pure jubilation.
It's definitely not the script I think anyone would have wanted for Purdue when you talk about 20 points off of turnovers, losing the second chance point battle, shooting 3 of 15 for 3. Not ideal. Pater pretty much called it 2 days ago that at some point they're going to have to win a game doing all those things. And they did, and that's pretty impressive. I thought, for everything Jones did wrong in the first half, he makes a 3 in the second and comes back, plays great defense on connect. It was a era-defining, player-defining, coach-defining, program-defining win. You don't get very many chances at that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, for you, as somebody that's followed this team closely, I mean, what do you think? Painter, I hear from every player, PJ Thompson said, he hasn't changed since the day he met him, how he recruits players, how he coaches players. So from your vantage point, as you've covered Matt Painter, like what has been your perception of him and the evolution to get to this point and travel through this journey of the ups and downs and the failures and to finally reach the pinnacle? There's just so many people around the country that I know are happy for him because I think we all understood how great he was. And for a lot of people, they didn't want to see that because of the failures attached to the team and his name. So for you watching that progression and that journey, what's your perception of Matt Painter?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just an evolution, it's a revolution. It's the circle back around of everyone. Like you walk around that court afterwards, you turn around and you see, Sasha Stefanovic is there. He played for him. Now he's coaching. You see Bobby Riddell, who played for him, and now he's on the radio. You see Robbie Hummel, who is now one of the biggest announcers in the game. These guys are all tied into the same story. And it finishes with Zach Edey handing Gene Katie a piece of the net, something that Gene Katie never got to experience while at Purdue, but here he is still standing next to Matt Painter as they cut down the nets. And like, it all starts like Matt Painter is the tether that holds Purdue together from this season to 50 years back. And that is just, it's so rewarding to watch someone who has been so honest and doing the right things and like there for his guys and everyone loves him, just to see that be rewarded finally after so much bad luck in March. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. So, Casey, we appreciate you jumping on, man. I know you've done such a great job covering this team, and we appreciate your coverage, and not only your coverage, but your support to what we do here. I think one of the more special things since I've come across, covering Purdue is the tight-knit community you guys have within the media, and you guys welcomed us and me and with open arms, and that meant a lot to us. You guys are, coming from the Chicago market where they can be pretty tough. The Purdue media group is top class, and you're a big part of that as well. So we appreciate your coverage. You'll always have supporters in us for what you do. And, we'll see you in Arizona, my friend.
Yep. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work, boys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's, I try to gather myself. Like, I'm an emotional guy. So I don't think
nothing wrong with that at all.
I don't think anybody's surprised by that when breaking news, Greg's emotional. But I'm just so happy for everybody. I've said that a million times, and I'll probably say it 100 more times here on this show because I don't really know what else to say. I'm just I'm relieved. I'm relieved they got it done. It got scary there. The free throws, make your free throw. Everybody's so simple, but they're not trying to miss them. But you can feel the nerves. Zach with the hair ball at the end. Trying to get the 40 burger, which he ended up getting, which was cool. But it's just so happy. And I've been a part of this for a short time, but we've all been invested in this journey. We've all sat through some tough losses here. And this is a moment where we get to really enjoy the moment, and relish in it. You got a few days to regroup to next Saturday and stress out about the next game. NC State and Duke are battling it out right now for the right to play us. But yeah, man, the Robbie thing really shook me up. Seeing, like I said, being with my mom, that's a special moment for me and her. And, like I said, Sasha Stefanovic is a big reason why this show is here. I wouldn't be covering Purdue or a Purdue fan if it wasn't for him. And he's now a coach on the team, and he's had a long journey from Crown Point to here. And I'm happy for him and his family. They're great people. So, that's it. I'll just cry this entire fucking show.
I can jump in, I guess, a little bit here. It's just
that's not what I meant to do.
I tried to take myself off the screen. This is how fucked up I am right now.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, everybody in the comments, and it's pretty apparent the emotion, and rightfully so, that's behind all this. Like, I think personally, I just haven't had a chance to really process all of it. I do have a little over a 4-hour drive back and starting in like an hour, so I'll have plenty of time then. But man, this is unreal. And then it's just, you guys have, Kraig, you already hit on it too, but like everybody that this goes out to. Right? This isn't just this team. You saw how many former players were here today. Obviously, Gene Katie, even though he hasn't coached in 20 years or whatever at Purdue, he's still an integral part of this program. Seeing him be able to get that net from Edie, I mean, even just the like the immediate reaction. I don't know if you saw the clip, Craig, because I know we were live and doing our thing up top, but like Painter's going to like shake Rick Barnes' hand, and Edie just runs up to him and just grabs him and hugs him like immediately after the game. Just the raw emotion. This was, and it's so different, right? For the first 3 wins after the game, it was business. It was no emotion. It was, yes, this is what we're supposed to do. Like we were supposed to win the Sweet 16. We were never losing the round of 64 game. Like we were never losing to a 16 seed again. And then today you finally get to see that emotion just be able to come through it. And it was just so cool to see like how much this really means. Now with that, like, and I interviewed, talked to Gillis a little in the locker rooms. He was like, I don't want to like discount the Final Four at all because this is an insane thing and nobody can ever take this from me. But he's like, job's not finished. Also, like, we should absolutely celebrate this. But job's not finished. There's more to come, and I'm excited to see where it goes. We have a couple super.
I'll tell you who's not crying. Braden Smith. That dude's a stone cold killer, man. At one point, he just walked off from the celebration and sat on the just where the bench was and just was taking. The dude's a stone cold killer, man. So we're all emotional as fans. It's a happy moment. We do have a couple super chats flying in. $100 super chat here from Jay Boiler. I didn't see a comment attached to it. But we appreciate your support here to the show. Boiler up. Oh, there is a comment.
Boiler
I just
up.
read. Boiler up. And thank you for the support here. Gabe Kraig, $4.99 super chat. Congrats to the guys from Boilers in the Stands and all of Boiler Nation on a historic Final Four run. From the Big Ten boys, they do a great job on Twitter. We appreciate you. They've been supporting us for a long time. We support them as well. JB, get yourselves to Phoenix. Boiler up. I got my flight already booked.
Mine.
Joe's got his flight booked. Craig still got his flight booked, but we're gonna make sure he gets there by hook or by crook. We also have one more super chat here. We got a bunch of super chats actually. Jeff Parks, $10 super chat. This is a team of destiny. They are not done yet. This is going to get even more special. Boiler up. I mean, it does feel like it now. I mean, we've talked about it a million times, and I'm sure we will if we do talk about this game and not just the emotion of it and see if I stop crying at some point. But, man, it takes so much to beat this team. Purdue didn't play like Casey said, it was an ugly game by their standard of they weren't hitting their shots. They turned the ball over in some pretty bad moments. They missed free throws. There was mistakes, a lot of mistakes made in this game, and yet they still won pretty convincingly in the final 2 minutes. It didn't come down to like the last shot or anything, and it just goes to show you how hard it is to beat this team. In the first half, Tennessee was 7 of 13 from 3, and Purdue was 1 of 8, and they were winning by 2. That's just – I mean, they're just so tough to beat. So I agree. They aren't done yet. NC State, like I said, NC State and Duke battling it out. I feel good about that game. We'll let Joe break it down for us when we get to preview week. But I feel good about either one of those teams. Bring it on. Your Huckleberry, $10 super chat. Amazing victory, amazing team. So very happy, and you guys are the best post game. That means a lot. Let's go let's go win 2 more. It has been very humbling this weekend to walk around Detroit and have so many of you guys that watch this show come up to us and tell us how much you appreciate what we're doing, and we appreciate you even more for your support and everybody saying hi. That was really cool and a humbling experience here this weekend. Jason Depew for Braggs, $4.99 super chat. One day I'll say your name right. Love this as much for Katie and all those players that helped build this program to what it is today. Boiler up, 100%, man. Craig put it in perfect terms, way better than I ever could to frame this as far as what this means to the program, all the players and coaches, current and former, fans, alumni, families, everybody. It's a cool thing, man. And I'm just proud for what we do here to have a small part in helping, this, with the fans and giving guys an outlet and a platform to come to. And so For me, it's just cool. I'm honestly just happy for all of you. I'm excited. I'm excited to get to Arizona. I want them to win so badly, but I know how much this meant to a lot of people. So I'm happy for Kraig, happy for Joe, happy for the team. It's a cool moment, and we should all just enjoy it, and we'll start stressing about Saturday some other day.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. We can worry about that another day, but I do obviously for that first game, like the matchup. I've not been somebody who's been super high on Duke all year. I think we've seen in a previous matchup from last year what Zach Edey can do to Filipowski. I don't know exactly if that would be who would guard him, but he made things really challenging on him. Go ahead, Joe.
Huh?
I thought you were talking. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
I thought
no,
you were.
I was just.
I'm breathing. I'm breathing.
I put my mic up here.
Their guard plays certainly got a lot better since the last time that we played them, so it'll be a different matchup. It'll be a different team, but either one of those two teams, I think, are teams that are favorable for us to go against. Obviously, UConn's looming somewhere. If they make
NC State's getting some momentum right now, and they're on an unbelievable run, winning the first team since the Kemba Walker UConn Huskies to win 5 straight in their conference tournament. They would not have made the conference tournament had they not won all 5 games. And now here they are. And I made a joke when we were doing the bracket preview show that I was hoping they'd be in our region to see them in like the second round. And now there's a chance I might get my wish in the Final Four. DJ Burns versus Zach Edey would be one of the most entertaining matchups to watch. They're certainly
and Horn's a beast as well. So, I mean, either team will be a tough matchup. I just think they're matchups that are still somewhat favorable for Purdue. And one other thing that I just want to capture in context is we were strolling through Twitter and other social media spaces today. I think by and large, you saw a lot of fans of other Big Ten teams cheering on Purdue today too. There's that pocket that's not. But there's a lot of people that just want to see a Big Ten team cut down the nets and help kind of end this narrative about the Big Ten. And got lots of comments and contributors. The one contributor for you, Greg, is like a group of fans from different Big Ten schools that have a social media space and do their own thing and put out graphic work. And I think there's truly a lot of people just around the Big Ten in general that are genuinely happy for Purdue and Purdue fans.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it. Coleman Hawkins tweeted, "I'm rooting for the Big Ten," or "I'm rooting for the 10," and did a Zach Edey gif on Twitter. I felt this a little bit before the tournament started, where it really felt like some of our biggest rivals, our biggest haters, were finally like laying it down for 5 seconds and are rooting for Matt Painters and the Purdue Boilermakers. You could feel that in a big way.
So, I mean, NC State's up 6 with 10 minutes left. If Duke wins, who are people rooting? Like, who is the general population rooting for?
Oh, there's no question. If it's Duke, so that's what's interesting about these two teams. If it's Duke, everyone's rooting for Purdue. Purdue is all of a sudden Purdue's like the Cinderella team versus Duke. I understand Purdue will be the favorite, probably with a pretty heavy line, but in terms of the program legacy, Purdue's the Cinderella, the underdog compared to Duke. The first time they're ever getting to a Final Four. It's like, I'm not saying they're Butler. They're not a blue blood, but they like the way they've played the last 4 years. They kind of are a blue blood, like just the way the program's been run, and then all these failures in March have kind of kept them from being considered in that upper echelon. So. But if it's NC State, that's then the reverse. Now you're playing a team that has nothing to lose, and you're the big bad wolf.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to transition a little bit because we do have a comment from Carter Elliott, our guy over at Sleepers Media. Had the meetup with him. He said, "Congrats, y'all. Need to know who on Boilers in the Stands was alive during the last Final Four." And I don't know if this was a shot at someone specifically.
I feel like Carter chose violence there. So I have some choice words for you in the private chat later, Carter. I will have some choice words for you later, but not over air, man. So yes, I was 3 years old the last time that Purdue made it to the Final Four. So Are we going to talk about the game at all?
We will. We
We will.
will.
And
I
we
was.
can.
Let's do
I
it.
was gonna like transition now from here, and then
Well,
I was gonna take it to the fans, and then we were gonna go to the game
Well,
because
but, all right. Let's transition, and before we do, let's give a shout out to Autograph,
Yeah.
and then that'll be a nice little transition to our next topic as NC State timeout Duke 48-40 NC State with the lead. Go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, Autograph. They've been with us for a month or two now. I don't even remember. But anyway, that doesn't know, Autograph is an app where you can get your Purdue content in one specific spot. So like basically everybody that you follow that was covering the game here, you'll be able to find their content in one specific spot. The articles, podcasts, you're going to find tweets relating to Purdue, just all of that. You use code BITS, completely free to sign up. Code BITS, BITS, and it's completely free. Use it, you sign up and get all your content in one spot. There's also obviously other colleges you can look at as well. And then on top of that is they reward you for being a fan. So you can, there's like different reward systems with coins, and you can kind of enter raffles. They've done a ton of ticket stuff. I don't know if they have anything for Final Four and National Championship, but knowing what they've done this year, I wouldn't be shocked if they do. They've given out really, really cheap tickets to many, many games throughout March, throughout the end of the regular season. So really do appreciate them working with us. And that is once again code BITS. I will flash up the QR code right now. You can scan this. It is on Apple and Android, completely free, and use code BITS. So yeah, that is Autograph. That was the code QR code right there. We'll maybe throw it up at the end too. I want to transition and kind of segue to the fans, and then I do think we should spend at least a little time maybe talking about the actual game. But I'm going to throw it to you, Braggs, right? And I'm going to set you up here. It's just like after the round of 64 games, you kind of got on the fans. This was a home game today. This was basically a home game for Purdue today.
I was stunned.
Like one of the big, not the biggest, I guess, because they've made a Final Four, but like the biggest game in the past 40 years.
Tennessee fans travel well, and it was 90%, 10% Tennessee fans. And I think I'm being generous with the 10% for Tennessee. I was not expecting that. I thought it would be close to a 50-50 split. And we walked into Harry's. Harry's was a great host to us the last 3 days. Shout out to them. A little symmetry hanging out at Harry's in Detroit. But walking in there, you could feel the energy today, and it was all Purdue fans and like a sprinkle of 1 or 2 or 3 Tennessee fans. And then me and Kraig were walking around the concourse before the game, kind of just taking it all in. And I was stunned. I could not believe the amount of Purdue fans. Like I said, Tennessee fans travel well. It's driving distance. It's doable for them. It's obviously a little closer for Purdue. Unbelievable job. And yes, I was hard on them in the first game. These guys are bringing it now, and it's in the octane level is just going up and up and up. And today was the fans' best showing yet. Intense the entire game. And it does make a big impact. It really puts pressure on the other team. They can't hear. It's hard to get the plays in, hard to communicate when everybody's getting rowdy like that. And Purdue fans were the top of this roof blew off several times here today as Purdue went on a few runs. And when they were down 11 and all hope felt lost for Purdue fans, the team, nobody blinked, and Purdue went on a 15-2 run to end the first half. And there was an explosion, several explosions throughout that run. And so that was a big moment for this team to turn the corner and win this game here in the second half, ultimately.
Yeah, no doubt. And, the thing that I've been hardest on related to the fans is it doesn't have to be a big moment to get loud. And I talked about some of the other places I'd been, like if they'd start to get down a little bit, the fan base would really get loud and rally the team. And you saw that today when Purdue got down, fan base stood up, rallied behind the team. Team goes on an immediate run after that. I'm not saying they're directly connected, but it's good to see Purdue fans doing that. Even when the team's struggling a little bit from that standpoint. So I thought they were amazing today. I don't know what the decibel level hit in here today, but there were times where it sounded as loud or louder than Mackey. It's obviously just holds a lot more people. So it has the chance to be that way, but just extremely, extremely good job all the way around by the fans.
I missed all that, but I'm going to agree with everything you guys said. The fans were
was
amazing, and it was a special atmosphere. I mean, I think I tweeted even on Boilers in the Stands, at Boilers in Stands on Twitter if you don't follow us.
I sat next to my mom in the stands, and that was cool. There was that was awesome to be able to share that moment with her, and then all the people around us. Like when Purdue won when Fletcher went to the free throw line, and it really felt like Purdue was going to get it done. Like 7 of us were all just arm in arm hugging and jumping around. Like it was just a feeling I'll never forget. And the fans in the stands were unbelievable, loud, intense, and then just the emotions just bursted out for everyone at the end. And seeing a dad in front of me with his daughter, taking her to her first game. She was like 7 or 8 years old. Like that's a great memory here, for them on an Easter Sunday, and talked to one of the supporters here on the show at Harry's outside. She's a season ticket holder for 40 years. She was here with her son. Like, I think that's who I'm thinking about with all this. Like all these people that have invested so much into this, this moment is for you guys. So yeah, I can't speak more highly of the showing the fans had today here for the Purdue Boilermakers.
Yeah, an SLK Boiler who came to one of our meetups, said she had a friend in the CBS control room, and even they were talking about how amazed they were about how loud and crazy the Purdue sound was today from the game. So
it was Mackey. It was an Elite Eight game, and it was Mackey Arena. I mean, that was you don't always get that big time of a home court advantage,
right? And as we transition a little bit to the game itself, there's a lot of times the last game we talked about how it was a complete team win because you had small contributions from everywhere. This game was a little bit opposite. At the end of the day, you did have contributions elsewhere, but at the end of the day, your 2 studs were studs. Your 2-time National Player of the Year and a point guard who's one of the top 3 point guards in the entire country were just absolute studs. And Braden had another just stat sheet in terms of rebounds, assists, and points. That was a little cumbersome, I know, Joe. And Zach, like you said, friggin' 40-pieced him, sets a new career high. I don't know how many rebounds he ended up with. Maybe it was
we call it a 40 burger. When you get a 30 piece, but you get up to 40, that's a Big Mac. That's a burger.
All right. So he got a 40 burger. He got 16 rebounds. And I mean, the story of this game really is about that rebound differential. Plus 21 in total rebounds there, plus 7 in offensive rebounds. Just Purdue's absolute dominance from that end, and Zach leading the way in that charge, and then just going back and forth toe to toe really with Dalton Connect from a scoring standpoint. It was Purdue's 2 studs were studs today. To me, that's the story of the game.
And Purdue had 2 of them, at least, and then on the offensive end, it was Tennessee only had 1. Well, I take that back. Ziegler had a solid game. He did just miss some shots. He definitely. I'm going to step back just a little bit, but then it also goes to the third, and Lawyer didn't shoot the ball great. He made some big time plays though. I mean, and then Lance Jones too. Like, I mean, he was bad. He was just bad. He was bad for 38 minutes on offense. Some bad shots. He did do very well defensively in the second half, especially.
Yep.
But what have we talked about all season long? Lance Jones doesn't care. And so when the ball swings to him with a minute and a half left or 2 minutes left and Purdue's up 3, Lance Jones does not care that he's 0 for 3 and 2 for 7 on the day and has turnovers and all that. He's going to let it fly. And what does he do? Drill it. 6-point lead. From there, Purdue's able to just kind of control the rest of the way. And so you get the small contributions, but then, I mean, I started the show off like Zach Edey's the greatest men's basketball player of all time at Purdue. 40 points, 16 rebounds in the Elite Eight game. I just don't care. Tennessee had no answer other than to literally foul. And I know Twitter, I'm sure, will be super upset about that, but Tennessee could have been called for a lot more. They could have. I'm not mad at the officiating or anything like that. It was fine. Their only answer was to foul. And then the big thing, quietly the big thing was that because Purdue shot 3 of 15 from 3. The very first time Tennessee doubled, Lawyer drilled a 3. And I think that I don't know if Tennessee wanted to ever double again. But they doubled once, and Purdue immediately drills a three, and that makes it a lot harder, at least
Yep.
as a coach, to be like, hey, we're just going to double. You saw them dig in a lot, which is what they do, but that was a big time three from Lawyer there in that spot too. And then from there, see, I forgot. Oh wait,
Yeah, the other thing, Joe, too, is like Purdue had some untimely turnovers, and some of them were just in such a bad nature in terms of how they happened that they gave straight up breakaway dunks and easy points to Tennessee that let them climb back in a couple of different times. But at the end of the day, they only finished with 10. And, Painter's always said, if we can keep it at 10 or under, if we can keep it in single digits, ideally, it's really hard to beat Purdue. My magic number has always been 12. And we talked about the fact that they were 26-0 if they had 13 or less turnovers this year. So they finished the day against a team that they turned the ball over 15 times against in Maui, only 10 today. So while a few of them were bad, by and large, they did a really nice job of not turning the ball over today.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, some of them came in some tough spots. Lance, that one where he was just completely out of control going to the rim. That was a tough one. But to your point about Lance, Joe, he had a tough game, but he finished, with that big three. And when he started the second half with that steal and layup, that was a big moment because the game, you got to set the tone to start the second half. And Purdue was in control for most of the second half, even though they let Tennessee back in it a couple times. But the entire time they were the ones that it felt like, they were being chased. They weren't chasing whoever the hell we played today. I'm blacking out. Yeah. Tennessee, that's right. So, but yeah, so it was nice to see those moments for Lance. But yeah, the free throws, yeah. It's like I said before, and I said it earlier on the show. I've said it 100 times on the show. You have to pitch a perfect game, and Purdue has to do like 6 things wrong, terribly wrong statistically, for you to beat them. And even if you have all those things go your way, you're still only going to beat them by 1, typically, and so, Purdue is just a hell of a team. They're a tough team to beat. I mean, UConn's the same way, right? They didn't shoot well against Illinois. They destroyed Illinois. It wasn't even close. So, these two teams might be on a collision course here. We'll see.
Do you guys hear me still if I'm talking like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have this, but my stand is being stupid. And
the Emmy Award-winning segment that we all know and love, X's and O's with Joe, Action Jackson. Here we go. Joe on the dry erase board.
So yeah, this was something, and if you guys can't hear me, then one of you just has to speak up. This is something that Purdue went to a lot. This is just a jank setup, but we're going to make it work because the fans deserve it. So Purdue went to this a lot to start the second half. And this is where you saw Edie that's when I was texting with, for anybody that doesn't know, Aiden Kuntz. He was on the show last year. I was texting with him during the game, and I was just like, Purdue just has to keep going to this. And so it starts with Chicago. So this is going to start with TKR. He gets the ball up at the top of the key. And I'll expand on this in a second, I guess, where I want to go. But Chicago action, pin down into a handoff. But and this is something they run all the time, right? This is for Lawyer. He's going to get the ball. And how many times did they run it where Lawyer was able to get downhill and actually get to the rim still, right? But this time they have TKR keep this. And so now Lawyer, who's, he draws a lot of defense attention, as he clears out, Brain Smith's going to kind of clear out over here. Now it's just high-low action. And so Purdue just gets to this, and high-low is when usually your other big passes to your big down low who's sealing. Edie would post a block. Sometimes he flashes middle, and now he's sealing in the middle here. And I think they went to it 3 or 4 straight times, and it's because literally, like, once Edie catches it one-on-one here, like, I don't know what teams are supposed to do. They have no answer literally other than to foul, or you just hope that Edie misses. And so that was something, and combining actions that they go to. So and it's simple, right? You guys can see it's a pin down. You're just going to keep the ball, and then it's one pass in a bucket. And so, like, yes, Purdue has super complex offense, and they run tons of actions, but it's all still basic stuff at the end of the day. And then the other thing that I wanted to go with that is, like, there's a reason that, and when UConn is also kind of this way, but like the reason like that play works, right? That when you look at that Chicago action the pin down into a handoff, they run it for Lawyer. And so when they're running it, it's not like teams are like, oh, this is just going to be for Edie. It's, oh, we have to worry about Lawyer getting this handoff right now. And they just do that constantly for everything that they run. They have your counter already. Like if they're thinking like, oh, it's going to be for Lawyer, well, there's your counter high-low. Oh, we're going to sag in on Edie. Well, now Lawyer's just going to grab it and get a 15-foot pull-up or a layup or something like that. Like everything they run has a purpose, even all of their kind of quote-unquote fluff, right, where it's actions that don't necessarily mean like too much. It's everything leads into one thing, and everything that they run, they can score out of. And that is rare. That is rare in the college game, to have quite literally almost everything that you run be a legitimate option. And so now like, and then Purdue's just able to counter and go. And it's crazy being able to watch this offense. It really, really is. I'm just glancing at the score. NC State's up 58-44, but continue, Kraig.
Yeah, no, it is. And, everybody's talked about how big Painter's playbook is, and just the fact that they can do so many different things that, we saw Gio from Rutgers do a quote tweet from one of your videos that you actually put out that said something about, he said something to Shrews about knowing the play, like calling it out to his guys. And Shrews looked at him and was like, you don't know what that is. And Gio was like, yeah, we had no idea. We were just trying to make Purdue feel like we did know the play. And just so many different actions. And it's, if you are an aficionado of basketball and good basketball, it's just something that's really appealing to watch, because there are just so many different counters off the base plays and base actions that they have just to get a guy in a specific spot to receive the ball where he is best suited to score. Just really poetry in motion to watch sometimes for me.
Yeah, it really is. They like Painter said so many times, we want to put teams in a bind, and they have just so many different options, and it's tough for teams to pick your poison, and they find themselves in a lot of binds. And like Joe said, I mean, at the end of the game, they just chose, hey, we're going to let Edie go one-on-one, which I thought was the right move. Edie, you play 39 and a half minutes, you're fatigued. It gets a little harder to get that good post position, but war of attrition, Purdue seems to always win. And the fouls were stacking up for NC State, so their rotations were getting busted, and they keep having to shuffle people in and out. And ultimately, I just think if the fact that Purdue couldn't hit a three to save their life for 30 minutes of this game, it was a big part of the reason why Tennessee was making it a ball game. That and Dalton Connect. I mean, geez Louise. I mean, you're talking. I think today we probably saw the two best players in the country. Is what did Dalton end up with? He had like 35
37.
or 36. 37, 40 points from Edie, 37 from Dalton Connect. I mean, that was one of the greatest one-on-one Elite Eight matchups of two great players you'll ever see. So credit to him, Dalton. He played an unbelievable game. He's a cold-blooded shooter, man. They do a really good job of springing him open and doing different things, pin downs, like Kraig was saying, and Joe has shown with his previews. So, yeah. But Purdue, they're going to win that war of attrition more times than not, and so that's what happened at the end. So let him go one-on-one with Zach. Good
He'll
luck
drop 40.
to you. He'll drop 40 on you. And if you don't want to foul, that's fine. And then he'll drop 45 on you. You want to foul and see if he'll miss some free throws. That happened today. He still dropped 40 on you.
Yeah, I think one thing we do need to mention or talk about a little bit is Purdue came out with a different defensive game plan against Dalton Connect, and tried to start out with Braden Smith on Dalton Connect. And I think kind of the assumption was like Connect's going to get his no matter what. And he can pull up with his size in that wing position. I mean, he's a high level NBA wing that he's just going to be able to rise up, whether it's Lance or whether it's Braden or whether it's Fletcher guarding him and shoot over top of him. So I think originally they thought that if they put Lance Jones kind of on the head of the snake in terms of Ziegler and tried to disrupt the offense before it got into its actions, that they might have better luck. And I think they found out relatively quickly that was not going to be the case. And you saw him switch back. I think Cam actually, when he was in, got switched onto him first. And then a little bit later, then they did put Lance back on him. And after that, relatively quickly. Connect had 3 turnovers pretty quickly in that stretch, which they forced them into turnovers in Maui too, guarding them that way. So I'm glad they made that switch and went back to what worked the first time out in Maui. And we saw Lance's value as a defender, even on a day where he wasn't very good offensively.
Yeah, I agree. Like Lance, that second half, and it's one of those, right? Dalton Connect's a superstar, and so I'm going to say Lance Jones did a good job in the second half on him, and in the second half, Connect had 19 points on 7 of 17 shooting. That's the type of player that Connect is. But like Lance, just he especially that second half. I mean, they pretty much just switched to full on denying, and so their defense was basically just not let him touch the ball, and that's what Jones did. I was surprised that that's what they went to start the game. They got out of it quickly. Good adjustment by Painter getting out of it. I understand the reasoning why they went to it. Didn't work. You get out of it pretty quick into the game too, so it doesn't hurt you too much. And then you figure it out from there. Also, I mean, I don't know if maybe you mentioned it, I just missed it, but like Tennessee shot 7 of 13 from 3 in the first half, 4 of 13 in the second half. They got definitely some open ones because Connect was just getting free on the perimeter. But they also made a couple tough ones in the first half. And that was kind of where, like, when Purdue was leading at half, it was just like, well, I don't feel were they leading or were they down? Whatever it was like a 2-point game either way. That's where I felt. I was like, well, you don't feel that bad because it's just like, I don't expect Tennessee to hit that many shots once again. And if they did, then you tip your cap and you move on. But no, I mean, what Tennessee averaged 1.01 points per possession. Like that is better than Purdue's average defensively, 100%. So good defensive effort. It's also just like that's kind of who Tennessee has been this year. Is Connect can go for 40. They need somebody else to step up. Ziegler, like I said, had a decent game, 9 points, 8 assists. But outside of that, you get a couple buckets, but not too much. So I kind of rambled there. Good defense. Colvin had a couple of good plays on Connect too, which was
I know
big. That was kind of in that. Was
like
that
up to that point? I thought he had the best little. It was only like 2 plays, but I actually thought he had the best little series there in those 2 plays of kind of denying Dalton from getting the ball to start with. So I was a little bit surprised they yanked him out when they did in that specific spot, just because he'd done a nice job. But I think Dalton went to the bench too at that point.
Yes.
So then he went to somebody else, and then when they switched it, Lance and Cam were doing a better job from that point on him. So.
Yeah, and I got the rotation here for anybody watching that doesn't know. Colored box means that player was playing during that minute. Colvin only played those 4 minutes, but at the bottom there's the Purdue margin. That's what that lineup was, plus minus. Colvin was +5 in those minutes, and that was kind of that stretch where, that was right before Tennessee went on a big run, and that was kind of back and forth. Purdue trying to gain their footing, and Colvin did a good job in those few minutes. At the end of the day, Painter trusts Heidi more, which is fair, especially defensively. So that's who he goes to in the second half. But like those were good, important few minutes from Colvin right there.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know how much more like player breakdown, game breakdown do we have.
Let's shout out Braden really. Okay, so because Braden played great except for like 2 or 3 of just mind-boggling passes, and I was just like, and I know you can't just like pick cherry pick plays, but like legitimately he had like 2 just unfathomably bad passes, and then other than that I thought he was great. And he had that Kraig, I know we both reacted crazy, or not crazy, but like whoa, when Smith drove and he did like the finger roll into basically a lob for Edie. That was pretty late in the game, I feel like, right? It was a pretty big bucket.
It was. I think it went through the defender's arms between.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and watch, but it felt like it went between the defender's 2 arms that were upright at the time.
And Zach did such an incredible job gathering some of those passes. That was one of them. And then there was a couple others that were tough passes to bring in as he's moving without trucking somebody over and getting an offensive foul and then finishing at the rim. Zach did an incredible job because it's a great pass, but it only becomes an assist if it gets finished, by the roller. So Zach and Braden were unbelievable today. Braden, man, smooth as silk.
Yeah, I mean, this was 9 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, I know the scoring maybe wasn't quite there, but he That's who Braden Smith is. He just does a little bit of everything. He's been much better defensively. I know Connect got free on him early, but yeah, I mean, there's just, other than that, I don't think I have too much. Gillis obviously
we
didn't
can run through a few different people. I mean, Camden Heidi, how did you guys feel? Because to Craig's point, some of the decisions they made to, how they wanted to defend Dalton Connect. Like, I thought there were times where Camden Heidi did well defensively, and then there were others. It was a little up and down, but I mean, he held his own as best he could.
Yeah, I mean, he did fine. He did okay in that stretch. Not really an offensive contributor, obviously, today, but did okay defensively against a really, really good player. But I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying is we're talking about whether we're talking about Mason, whether we're talking about Cam, whether we're talking about TKR, just not a whole lot of talk about today. In relation to them, they gave some good minutes. They gave really strong effort. They were important to Purdue winning this game. But in terms of, I guess, statistically what they did today, maybe not things that just jump off the page to talk about with them.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, no, I agree. And I want to hit on Gillis for a second because he goes 0-2 from 3. He doesn't score, but he has 8 rebounds, 3 assists, plus 17 for plus minus in 26 minutes. I asked him about it after the game too. It's just like, what's your mindset kind of? And it's basically, it was just like, you do what you got to do to win. And the threes weren't falling for anybody at all today. Gillis included in that, obviously, but he does work on the boards. He still moves the ball well. He makes the right plays. And that's where this team is just much more versatile than last year. It is Gillis. I mean, we don't have to, I'm not even going to bring it up, but like everybody's just so much improved of like being able to make winning plays without physically having to score the ball always. Like this is, I mean, obviously you have Edie go for 40, Lawyer gets to 14, knocks down some free throws at the end, but like nobody could really score the ball outside Edie, but it didn't matter because this time the defense is the one that's a little bit better. And so they're able to just win in different ways. And that's just, this is just incredible stuff to see.
Yeah, 100%. So, I think that's it. I mean, we talked a little bit about Fletcher. I mean, Fletcher is a stone cold killer too. He's crazy. At one point in the first half, he drove to the rim and tried to dunk it on all of Tennessee. He legitimately did try to dunk it. If he had been able to pull that off, he ended up getting blocked pretty bad. But I thought there was a couple moments at the end of the game where Fletcher was on Dalton Connect. I know he drew that one. Dalton got that one foul and got to the free throw line, but Fletcher just continues to hold his own and show up in big games. He understands. And then the other big moment was in the second half where they're doing a full court press. Fletcher has an alley to get it across half court, and he doesn't stop because he has no one on him, and he goes all the way to the rim and finishes it. And a lot of times I think we're all just programmed as Purdue fans, like, slow it down. Let's get it into Zach. He's going to be the guy that, is going to get you a foul and get you a bucket. But Fletcher didn't blink, went right to the rim, got the layup. Fletcher is one of those guys just like Lance Jones. No fear. Doesn't matter what kind of mistakes he makes. He's just going to keep coming at you.
Well, I mean, people hunt Connect like people hunt Fletcher when they play us. And Connect is a bad defender for as great as an offensive player as he is. And Purdue kind of went at him and tried to keep getting actions that get what the player that they wanted on him. And, Fletch just – you don't see Fletch kind of go one-on-one against a guy and just like, I'm going to take you off the bounce all that much. And he did with Connect. It is what it is. Fletch had some really, really good plays, obviously hitting that big 3 and then taking Connect off the dribble a couple of different times. But, that's what people are going to do against Connect in general.
Yeah, we got NC State up 64-52 with less than 2 minutes to go. DJ Burns with a huge and one. Dude is an absolute tank. It looks very likely that your Purdue Boilermakers will be taking on the Cinderella darling of the NCAA tournament here at the Final Four. What a run for NC State here, up 13 with 1:55 left in the game. Morris Bankston, who's been a huge supporter of what we do, he does a great job. He does a great job covering the Chicago Bulls and does a lot of great stuff with NBA Talk. We appreciate you more. 1999 super chat. Congrats, Boilers in the Stands, for capturing history for Boiler Nation. I got a lot of great pictures, a lot of great videos. I tried to just capture as much as I possibly could, literally running around this entire arena, sweating bullets. Joe was in the locker room. Kraig was at the press conference. We were trying to just get as much content as we can, and we haven't even put out 10% of what we have. So might be a content dump coming tomorrow on some of our platforms when we go sift through what we have. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Grr 90086 $2 super chat. Edie hands the net to Katie, will forever live in my heart. Great moment. Then they tied it to the back of Gene Katie's hat, so that was pretty fun. Love to see Gene involved in all of this, and being a big part of why this program is what it is today. As far as game goes or anything else, guys, is there anything else we really touched on Zach and how special he is and everything else. We've kind of run through, the adjustments Purdue made, on Dalton Connect. Like, I don't know, do you guys have anything else that we're missing? I can't really think if anything stands
You're
out.
muted, Kraig.
I think as we get later on into this week, we can look a little bit ahead at the potential matchup, and we can kind of maybe revisit this game a little bit. I feel like we're all a little emotional and cloudy in terms of just getting through that win. We may want to revisit some things, but I think we can go to the starred comments and highlight some of those, and that may spur a little bit more talk, and then we can wrap this up and get on the road. I can buy my flights.
Well, Joe says I'm muted, but you can hear me.
I was.
Kraig.
Oh, Kraig, not Greg. Although we did have Kraig Bowers' nameplate in the stadium say Kraig Brags.
True.
So that was a funny moment here before the game. Bob Sadek saying Brags, go ahead and cry. I'm an 82 graduate and was in school during the last Final Four. Nothing since. This is so beautiful. Yep, just happy for guys like you, Bob. It's a great moment for everybody. And what we do here means a lot to me. What Joe and Kraig have done with this show means a lot to me. I'm very proud of what we're doing here. I'm happy with all the decisions we've made to, get to this point, and all the supporters that have come out to Indianapolis and Detroit and come to our meetups. It's really very gratifying, and I'm working really hard to try to make my way in this media business as a bricklayer for 20 years, and to find two guys like this, guys I can trust, guys that really know the game, but more importantly are better people than just ball knowers. That's what's important to me. And their friendship is more important than anything we do here on this show. But having people I can trust is paramount to a successful show like we do here. And so, I'm happy for you two, and I'm proud of what you guys have turned this into this year without me for a lot of it, with everything I have to do with the damn Chicago Bears. And if you think I'm emotional with the Purdue Boilermakers, the Bears ever win a Super Bowl, I won't be able to do the postgame show. I can promise you that. So,
and Greg, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I think I have, but I'm not positive. When you first, I'm very thankful to you for getting me started with this in you, or with this through you. But when you first reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to collaborate, I thought you meant just promote the show. So the very first time you messaged me and asked me if I was ready to come on air that night, I didn't even know that's what you meant. So I was like, well, what do I think I called my sister and I was like, do I just go on air with this guy or what? Like, I had just thought I was like sharing his content. So I'm glad I said yes and wasn't like, no, I don't do this. So appreciate you bringing me along for this journey. And yeah, you took me all the way to Phoenix, Greg. Some other guys some other guys did some stuff too, but
maybe Zach, me and Zach got you to, and Painter, I guess we got you to Phoenix. But no, I mean, you've done such a great job. It's not easy to adjust, from doing, then getting in front of the camera, but you guys are pros, man. You guys, I mean, we've said it a million times, Joe, you're going to be a star in this industry. You keep your head right and don't listen to me too much, but maybe a little bit. And So like I said, I could talk about you guys all day, but that was another part of, I couldn't even say it to start the show because I knew if I did, I'd probably just completely start breaking down like I'm about to now. But what you guys mean to me in this show and what we built here, I'm very proud of, and I'm very excited to get to Phoenix, and maybe we'll celebrate a national championship together. And if we do, I'll just sit here and cry the entire time while you guys try to talk about what happened in the game.
Can you imagine I'm just trying to be realistic and thinking, say if Purdue wins the championship, are we going to be talking about am I going to be talking about Zoom action and stuff post game, or
no, we're just going to get on. Yeah. You know what would be somehow or another we need to figure out how we can just bring fans on and have them say something really quick about what it means to them, and we don't need to be doing X's and O's talk after, if that would happen. It's
not a terrible idea. We just put the link out there and let people jump on. We can have as many as 10 people on this show, and maybe that's what we need to do.
Maybe
I don't know if this is the Kathy that I met.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
I don't know if this is the Kathy that I met at Harry's today, but Kathy was a season ticket holder for 40 years. I had a lot of fun talking basketball with her here today. So, all you guys. So it's just been such a great weekend. I had a great time on Saturday too, by the way, golfing, casino, and everything. So this is just
while Joe and I were working.
Well, somebody got to do it around here. Andy in Colorado. I got tickets for my brother, myself. Can't wait to set up the meet and greets or the meetups. My flight lands at noon or something, so maybe I should have had it in a little earlier, but whenever I get in, that's when we're doing a meetup. Can't wait to be there. Walter Evans, is there a Harry's in Phoenix? Let's hope so, Walter, because that place in Detroit will forever hold a special place in my heart. I know there was a couple people that worked there that were ready to rip my head off for the amount of organizing I was trying to do in their establishment. But Hugh and Hugh, who's the owner at Harry's, you guys did a fantastic job, and we appreciate you guys being a great host to Boilermaker fans from all over the country and the world for that matter. Tim Swartzel, we're waiting for all of you here in Phoenix. Party at Tim's house on Tuesday or Monday night into Tuesday. Yep. You heard it.
Big barbecue.
Big kegger, double kegger, party at the Moon Tower. Bill here in the chat brags, I was getting blood drawn at home during the last 2 minutes, and the nurse thought I was going to destroy the catheter. Well, be safe there, Bill. We appreciate you. Maybe we'll see you down in Phoenix. Tommy Wallen, when the commentator said Tennessee likes to hedge, I thought of the board. So
nice.
Yep. The board. We love the board here on Boilers in the Stands. Rob Byers, I'll be there. Got 2 tickets through the lottery. 45 minutes to victory in Glendale. Let's get it. Rob, excited to see you out there. Hopefully, I'm excited for the meetup in Arizona. Start to have to look at what the weather's going to be like next weekend. Linda Jackson, great show. Like always, you guys are awesome. Hit the like button, everyone. That's right. I haven't really said that too much here on the show, but hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, we appreciate that, of course. Any amount of support and viewership is greatly appreciated. But if you go over to the YouTube channel and you T1D Steve, $5 super chat saying, great show, great to meet you at Harry's Brags. Keep up the good work. Yeah, it was great meeting you as well, Steve. And so, like I was saying, if you hit that like button, if you go to our YouTube channel, hit the like button on the show, subscribe to the channel. That's something that really helps grow this thing, on a bigger level than on Twitter at times and Facebook, where in terms of the algorithm and all of that. So if you could do that, that's an easy way to really support us. Chubbs82 in the chat. Screw all of you. Congratulations. That's my good buddy Chubbs. He's an Illinois fan. We were rooting for you, Chubbs, against UConn, but no amount of our rooting helped that matter, unfortunately. But the Big Ten had a really nice showing here in the tournament. Got one team to the Final Four, first team in the Big Ten to the Final Four since, Kraig?
Purdue?
In the Final Four.
Yeah. What
Just
what
Big
was
Ten
the last
team.
Oh, Big Ten 21.
Michigan State, right?
Michigan State or
18?
Wisconsin?
Michigan State for sure.
Yeah.
So a good showing for the Big Ten across the board, including Chubbs' Fighting Illini. Hit that like button, subscribe. The super chats everybody's been throwing at us, we really appreciate everybody. It's a great Easter indeed. Happy Easter to all of you that observe. We appreciate you guys, everybody tuning in on a holiday night as NC State's trying to wrap this thing up. And we're going to wrap this thing up here on Boilers in the Stands because we all have some pretty long drives home. But it's a happy drive home, and that's all that matters. And so this has been a fun post-game show. I'm sure my guys at CHGO will have a lot of fun with the fact that I cried for the first 35 minutes of this show. But, those emotions were real. And, what your support and everybody's support to the show is real. What it means to us is real. What these guys mean to me is real. What my relationship with my mom and the passion she's taught me in my life, that's a real thing. And how happy I am for Sasha Stefanovic and his family. I've known him a long time, and we've both kind of had our journeys through a lot of different, me through a media career and obviously him with the Purdue program, and to see him get over the hump here and be a part of something special with Purdue. I'm very proud of him, and I'm very happy for his family. They're really good people. And Sasha's going to do big things as a coach with Purdue, and I'm looking forward to continuing to watch his journey. It's been an honor and a privilege. He is the quintessential Purdue person, somebody that you can really look at as, the template for people that come to this school, whether you're just a student or if you're an athlete that, gets to play for the team, and that's what this whole team epitomizes, all the way up to Zach Edey. They're all for each other, and Zach Edey drops 40, but it's about the guy next to him. Ethan Morton didn't get in the game today, but the how connected they all are, and Ethan being genuinely happy and not thinking about himself. Matt Painter talking about in the postgame that it eats him up that guys like Ethan and other guys can't get into the game. Everybody cares about each other. They're not worried about themselves. And so all of this is real. That connection is real. The emotions of today are real. So embrace it, have fun with it, and on to Phoenix. Your Purdue Boilermakers, ladies and gentlemen, are heading to the Final Four. So if you guys got any final thoughts, fire them away. If not, we'll close this baby down.
Boiler up and see you in Phoenix. That's my
let's go to Arizona.
So stay tuned for updates on shows this week. Shows maybe even plural, but certainly one show at the very least. I know that Joe and Kraig are going to be in Phoenix before me. I'll get in Saturday morning. So just stay tuned for announcements on upcoming shows this week to talk a little bit more about this game, or just start to look ahead to the next one, on to the next one, as they say. So once again, thank you for everybody that tuned in. Thank you to Casey Bartley for jumping on here for Boiler Upload. Thank you to Kraig and Joe, as always, for their expert analytics analysis. And thank you to everyone for putting up with my blubbering and crying for 35 minutes. Midwestern goodbye is certainly not just incoming, it is underway. Final Four, baby. Boiler up, hammer down. We'll see you in Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.